Alright guys, we're going to start brushing the client's hair in the direction that he brushes it. We're going to do a bald fade. It's just going to be a simple bald fade, step by step. You know, your boy Black Prince the Barber is here to give you them gems. So y'all stick around, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. But with further ado, let's just get into the haircut. Like I always say, usually I put my first initial guideline in with my trimmers, but you know what I'm saying, I had to leave them trimmers alone. I had to set them trimmers down because these Stylecraft Instinct, they give you the guideline that you need. But with that being said, you're going to go along and put your first initial guideline into the client's hair. Big shout out to my boy Joseph for pulling up for their haircut. But anyway, you got to make that first initial guideline, and you want to get it as bald as you can because it'll be easier to come back and flick that line out. That's the point of me putting my first initial guideline in with my clippers. But other than that, man, let's just get into this haircut. I'm going to be walking you guys step by step through the whole process. If you get lost during the steps, I'm telling you guys, be sure, or you can go back and rewind and, you know what I'm saying, just hear me out. Now I come back with my trimmers to bald underneath the initial guideline. I want that part to be a little bit balder. Now, I just want to point this out to you guys. The Stylecraft Instinct don't get it as bald as I want it, but the guideline area, it get it bald enough so I can just come back and not have a hard line to get out. But yeah, the Stylecraft Instinct, man, those are my go-to clippers when I make my first initial guideline. Guys, if you have not purchased the Stylecraft Instincts, man, y'all missing out, bro. Make sure you guys get from the Stylecraft Instinct. They the #1 clippers to me right now because it had that vapor blade on it. You know, the fade blade and the taper blade, man. I mean, when Stylecraft first came out with the Instincts, I was unsure about getting them. But man, once you get them in your hand and you just start to use them, bro, it changes your whole barber style, the way you cut, bro. But let's just go and get this bald line and get to the next step. All right, guys, we're going to open the clippers up. Now we're about to start working on that secondary primary guideline. The secondary primary guideline is where, you know what I'm saying, you start to see hair develop. And remember to always go a finger's width because, you know what I'm saying, you don't want to push that fade up too high. A lot of people like to fade, you know what I'm saying, in a compressed style. But my fade, you know what I'm saying, I just make it the way it, you know, according to the head shape, contour to his head. But yeah, the secondary primary guideline is where the hair starts to get darker and you want to start, you know, fading within that area because you already made your first initial guideline. Now you want to make your secondary primary guideline. And so you're going to see me start doing a little adjustment. I'm going to work click by click until I fade that line out. But as of right now, I'm going to go all the way around the head until everything just get even. So let's just continue until we get to the next step. All right, guys, I want you to follow me step by step. I close them one click and I start to use my corner, you know what I'm saying, not right off bat, but you know, the more you close it, the more you have to use your corners. But go up to the parietal ridge area a little bit underneath where you made the secondary primary guideline, so you know what I'm saying, you can start fading that hair out. I mean, you're going to see the hair eventually come off, but you know what I'm saying, you don't want to just fade it out all of a sudden. I see a lot of barbers, they close their clippers halfway, but with me, man, that's the point of the clicks, man. I use every click on my clippers because, you know what I'm saying, I want that guideline to be fine, and I just want to, you know what I'm saying, start to faint it out. I'm not knocking it out all of a sudden. I just want to faint it out so, you know what I'm saying, the blend and the fade can match. You know what I'm saying? I'm working on the fade part right now. So the blend is at the top where it's real dark at. I'm gonna tell you the difference between a fade and a blend. Let's just continue to watch and just see how we come up on the fade part first. All right, guys, now I'm gonna close it. Now I'm like the third notch closed. Now this is when I start to use my corners. But remember to always brush the hair down, because once you cut the hair off, you want to be able to brush it down so you can see where your fade gonna fall into place it. And this right here, it's gonna start giving you that illusion that your fade is, you know what I'm saying, crispy. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, man, remember to use your corners and use that hairbrush as you cut, because you know what I'm saying, like I said before, you want to use that brush to knock it down to see where your fade starting to take effect at. Because if I didn't have that brush in my hand and I just be cutting hair, I won't even know where I'm at. I'd be lost in the fade. But I always have that barber's eye so you can know what need to be taken off. So let's get it. Let's continue, and you know what I'm saying, utilize your corners. All right, now close it one notch from being completely closed. Now this is when I'm gonna start utilizing my corners more, because you know what I'm saying, my fade is coming in, but I just want to make sure, you know, everything is polishing up before I move to the next step, because I want to make sure the bottom area, which is my secondary primary guideline, like I said earlier, I want to make sure that is faded in before I start to work on my fade. I mean, I'm not really worried about the fade, because if you really just think about it, the darker hairs that you see at the parietal ridge area, they're going to be easy to knock out. But the most important thing to knock out at the beginning of any haircut is the little stubbles, which is my fade, which is my secondary primary guideline area. So with that being said, man, that's the most important thing that I'm just working on right now. All right, YouTube, we're gonna go completely closed. So I just want to let you guys know that this is when you actually just use the corner, man. Use them corners. Yeah, right there. Use them corners real delicately, because you don't want to use all that. You don't want to use that whole blade. I'm trying to give y'all guys some gems, man. I'm just trying to drop y'all this. I mean, any other barber, they'll tell you something different, I guess. But this barber right here, this Black Prince barber right here, I'm going to give it to you the way you need to be giving it to, bro. So with that being said, man, utilize your corners and use like not even 2 teeth of the blade, man. Just use, at least try to use that 1 teeth, because that 1 teeth of the blade, man, that's the most important thing of the whole haircut process. Bro, you put in too much work to be messing it up. But with that being said, man, you see how that fade coming into effect, man. So that's what I try to tell you guys at first, man. And then we can work on the blend next. So let's just get into finishing up this fade part. All right, YouTube, try to understand what I'm saying. I already cut the hair down with the number 1 against the grain. So I'm gonna put the number 1 back on. I'm gonna close them, because remember, like I just said, I cut the hair against the grain anyway. So what's the use of me opening my number 1 up just, you know what I'm saying, make my, you know, guideline? But I already used it to cut the hair against the grain. So as of right now, it's not gonna take as much off. It's just like I'm just in that blending process to make it a little lighter so I can come back with the next blade. But you want to make sure you take your time, and the fade is going to fall in place, man. I'm done with the fade process. I'm working on my blend process now. As you can see, the thicker the hair is, the more you have to blend it. The thinner the hair is, the more you have to fade it. So that's the difference between a fade and a blend. I mean, other barbers might say different, but you know, everybody have their options, or you know, have their recollections of how they say stuff about haircuts. But I'm working on my blend part right now. As you notice, it's getting lighter. But with that being said, man, let's just go ahead and enjoy this video. Alright guys, this is my very best friend right here, the zero guard, man. I'm gonna put that zero guard on. I'm gonna close them joints all the way. And I'm gonna start to use the zero guard corners just to knock that line out right there. Well, I'm not gonna actually knock the line out. I'm just gonna use the corners. And you're gonna see me open it up one time, you know what I'm saying, just to go up a little bit. Because if I was to just keep the zero guards closed and go all the way around, I kind of knock that line up anyway. That's the point of blending that line up. I mean, it might sound crazy, but you know what I'm saying? Just rewind the video and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now you see how I open the blades up a little bit? I'm going up. The more I knock that fade up, the more I'm gonna open the guards. But I shouldn't be opening the guards up no more than a notch and closing a notch, because I just want to work on that area. I'm just knocking that little line out. I don't need to go up no further, because remember that one close, it took care of the other part. So I don't need to run that zero close into that one close. I just need to drop it down a little bit and start my blending process underneath the one close. But if you guys kind of like, you know, can't understand what I'm saying, or you know what I'm saying, you're mixed up in the vibe, just rewind the video, because you know what I'm saying, this is YouTube and you can always rewind and replay it. Alright guys, I'm about to knock that line out. So I open my blades all the way. Now on this part right here, I can't tell you exactly how to utilize, I can tell you how to utilize your blades by using the corners. But in this part right here, you have to have that feel for adjustment. So I just really can't say, well, I'm gonna close it on this part and open it on this part. Now that's when the barber has to have that feel for the, you know, fade himself, because you know, it's just the point of me just actually knocking down the dark areas at the end of the day. But I'm trying my best to show you guys how I work up on it, because right now I just have the blade open and you might just see me close it a little bit and open it. But this is the adjustment area right here. Make sure you adjust when needed. Use your corners. Please utilize your corners when needed. And the haircut will fall in place itself. So with that being said, man, let's just get it until we get up to the edge up part. Alright guys, my half guard, I put it on and close it 2 times, you know what I'm saying, just to start knock that little zero guard line out, because I see a little weight right there. So remember to always go back and do detail behind detail. Maintenance your details as you cut your client's hair, because you know you want to make sure everything falls in place before the client get up out the chair, because he can go home and see something different. But long as he's sitting in your chair, you want him to, you know what I'm saying, feel comfortable knowing that, you know what I'm saying, you're trustworthy to cut his hair. But remember to always go back over your work at the end of the day, man, because you know what I'm saying, a great haircut will lead you into success, man. So just keep that in mind, and you know what I'm saying, just roll with it. Now I'm gonna open the half guard up. I'm gonna go up a little bit into that zero. Remember, I'm not pushing my fade line up. I'm just detailing my fade line. But let's just get into it until we get to the edge of it. As you guys know, my client has different swirls going different ways in his head, so it's a certain way you have to brush up his front edge up. Now, he do have a receding hairline, and he always asks me, you know what I'm saying, to match one side with the other. So this is not going to be exactly a pushback, but it's just going to make both sides have that illusion that it's not a pushback. So I don't want you guys to bash me in the comment section talking about, Prince, you pushed them back. Look, no, I didn't. Remember, what the client always asks for is what you give the client, man. So at the end of the day, man, let the client decide on what type of haircut he wants. Because, you know what I'm saying, if he want to push back, of course, I will push him back if he asks for it. But it's not going to be a pushback. It's going to be a professional pushback. And like I said, his swirls kind of trick the hairline of how I'm edging them up. I mean, you guys will see at the end of the video. Let's just watch this edge up. You're going to see. Come on, let's get it. Guys, I forgot to push the record button when I was putting the enhancements on my client until I just realized it. But this is the final outlook of the whole haircut, man. If you like it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications. And you know what I'm saying, whatever haircut you guys want to see me do in the near future, man, just comment it below and I'll see could I pull that pressure for you guys. But with that being said, may God bless.